What up, everybody? It's your boy Sack the King up in this motherfucker, man. Back with another life story, because I told y'all I'm going to give y'all 30 for 30. I meant to do one each day, but, I went on vacation, took a little trip to Bangkok, Thailand. As y'all can see, scroll through and check out some of them videos that I made. But I'm still going to give y'all 30 life stories for the month of September, which has 30 days, man. So by the end of September, y'all have 30 new pieces of content that y'all can laugh at, that y'all can relate to, and all that other good shit, man. But what I need y'all to do is hit that subscribe button below so you can be the first to know and help the channel grow. Because if you haven't watched any of these other videos, you will see that, or I'm letting you know that once I reach 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to be giving away $100 to one of my subscribers. I know $100 ain't sounding like a lot, but hey, $100 is $100. You feel what I'm saying? When I hit 10,000 subscribers, which is probably a minute from now, unless you guys share my video, like this video, and put me in an algorithm, I'm gonna be giving away $1,000. So make sure you hit that subscribe button below and be the first to know and help the channel grow. Now, as you can see from the title, man, yes, I had a kid at 15, man. I was 15 turning 16, man. Now, anybody who knows me knows that I've always been about fucking with bitches at a young age. You know what I'm saying? I started fucking when I was 12. That's a whole nother story I'm going to put on here by the end of the month. You know what I mean? So it wasn't, no surprise to anyone who knew me back then that, shit, this nigga going to have a kid pretty soon the way he doing it. Well, long story short, man, I ended up moving to Louisiana from California. My family moved when I was about 14 turning 15, damn near. We moved at the end of 97, and I ended up getting the fuck up out of there in the year 2000, when I was 17, soon as I could, the first chance I can get. And I'm gonna go into some of them stories too, so stay tuned. But yeah, I remember getting to the school, and yeah, we blowing on big Cubans. And the first girl it was slim pickings in Louisiana, man. Let me tell you that. First off, that's a whole nother story. That was the first place that I experienced racism. That's a whole nother story I'm gonna tell y'all. I knew what it was, but I never experienced it until then. You know what I'm saying? Because in California, Northern California, we grow up in a melting pot of all different cultures and races. Anyways, man, the first girl that I was attracted to happened to be a senior. I'm a freshman, but hey, y'all can say what you want about my appearance now or whatever. I'll still pull your bitch. I'll charm and disarm that bitch if she give me the time of day. But anyway, back then I was a handsome motherfucker. Nigga, I had hair, nigga, I was handsome as fuck. Anyways, so the first girl I was attracted to, she was a senior, you know what I mean? And I was like, I'm going to knock her. I'm going to knock me a senior. That's what I was telling my whole class. Like, I'm going to knock me a senior. But I ended up becoming cool with her brother, Brian, shout out to my bro, Brian. And I remember being on the school bus, and I was like, bro, that girl right there at the front, she always sit in the front. She like my son's mom was just a quiet ass female, you know what I mean? And that's what kind of attracted me to her. She wasn't niggas wasn't all fucking with her at the school or nothing. You couldn't find one nigga at that school that had fucked with her, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, I remember we was on the school bus one day, and I was like, hey, I was telling my bro Brian, I was like, hey, man, that girl right there is bad. He was like, who? I was like, the quiet one that always sits behind the bus driver right there. He was like, nigga, that's my sister. I was like, that's your sister? He was like, yeah. He was like, shit, I don't care, though. You know what I mean? He was like, I don't know if she gonna talk to you. He was like, and she got a kid. She already had a kid, you know what I'm saying? I was like, her? She got a kid? Bro, she don't never talk to nobody at school. She always keeps to herself. Hey, man, it be them quiet ones, man. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, so I'm like, she got a kid? So, longer story short, man, I just thought Gina was fine at that time. I was like, yeah, she pretty, like really pretty girl. None of them white girls was fucking with niggas. It was only one nigga who had some white girls, Carlos Livingston. That was the only nigga with a white bitch, you know what I'm saying, named Melanie. I remember he had two little bitches back in the day, Melanie and Crystal. They was best friends. Really, when I think about it, that nigga should have been pimping them bitches. Like, that could have been his first two hoes. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, man, back to this story about having a kid at 15, bro. So anyways, man, longer story short, I'm like, man, I'm gonna get her. I don't give a fuck. So what I would do is I would go over Brian's house, you know what I'm saying, and I would hang out with him. But really my mission was to get with his sister. And he knew it. He didn't give a fuck. We were still friends. We would still hang out, and then I would, try to spit game at his sister. Well, it took me a little minute, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, she was like recluse, she was quiet, even though she had a kid, she still was like really reserved, you know what I mean? And she's always been that way, and she's still that way to this day, she's been married now for like 20 something years, you know what I mean? But anyways, so longer story short, she finally gave me the time of day, man. She finally gave me the time of day. Now, I didn't know that I could make a kid at this time because I had a girlfriend right before I moved from California named Jamie, and I was shooting her club up all the time, and that never happened, thankfully, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, when I'm fucking with my son's mom, you know what I mean? I'm shooting her club up all the time. Now, mind you, I was a little naive at this time in the 9th grade because I'm thinking to myself, okay, one, I don't think I can make a kid right now. You know what I'm saying? Two, I was just naive about fucking being able to fucking make a kid at 15. I thought you had to be like 18 or something before you can. I knew I could bust a nut, but I didn't know I could make a kid. I must have went to sleep in them sex ed classes or something. So anyways, so one, it was that. Two, I thought that she would be a little bit more responsible about, not trying to have another kid, being that she already had a kid. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so just being naive, you know what I mean? Anyways, man, I remember it was Father's Day the very next year. And it was like, what? 98. Yeah, my son was born in 99. So it was like Father's Day of 98. We all went to church and shit, but she kept telling me like, hey, I ain't have my period. I'm like, shit. Okay, what is that supposed to mean? Cool. That means I get to smash a little bit more. She was like, nah, like, I ain't have my period. I think I'm pregnant. So I'm like, all right, well, we're going to go eat at Ryan's, and then we're going to go over here, because I was with my family that day, but she ended up, hanging. She used to always, by this time, like I remember my mom catching us fucking in the house, and it was like after that, my mom was like, she can come over and hang out, but she got to go home. She couldn't spend a night or no shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Because my mom had me young. So she already knew what was up. But like I said, my son's mom was like 4 years older than me. So she like 18 at the time. You know what I mean? Yeah, she 18 at the time. I'm like 14, 15. I was 14 turning 15. She was 18 turning 19. You know what I mean? Her birthday's in January. My birthday's in March, but this is June, right? So we went to Walmart and we got a pregnancy test, and she took the pregnancy test and that shit was positive, bro. And I'm like, damn, like, how the fuck am I going to tell my mom that I got a fucking kid on the way? Like, god damn, you know what I'm saying? So I remember she took the pregnancy test, and it wasn't too long after that I think I told my parents. And I remember telling my parents, and my mom and dad was like, shit, they wasn't mad, I don't even remember if they was really disappointed. I just remember my dad looking and being like, well, look like you got to get you a job. You know what I'm saying? And my mom was like, oh, she's pregnant now. You know what I mean? So longer story short, man, the summer went on and she ended up telling me that she had a miscarriage. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I didn't know what that was, but she was like, I'm not pregnant no more. So we ended up having a fight or whatever, and we ended up breaking up. All right. So the rest of the year goes on. You know what I mean? Now that was June. Now come December, you know what I'm saying? I hadn't seen her. I hadn't talked to her for like, since like maybe August of that year. Now we found out she was pregnant in June. In August, she told me that she had a miscarriage and shit. So she wasn't pregnant. I'm like, shit, she older than me. She knows what she's talking about. So, okay, cool. You know what I mean? So I go on with this, rest of the school year and all that shit. So, but I wasn't talking to her or nothing. So I remember it was Christmas break, bro. And I was out with the homies kicking it, you know what I'm saying? And I come home one day and my mom was like, hey, I told my parents the same shit. Like, hey, she had a miscarriage, so we wasn't thinking about that no more. So this is December now. So I remember her brother Brian kept calling me. My mom was like, hey, Brian been calling all day. Like, you might want to call him back. So I call him back, right? So I'm like, what's up, Brian? Now, mind you, we broke up in August. This is December. In between that time, I found out that she was like trying to date somebody or have a little boyfriend or something, right? So let's just keep that because it's gonna come up. So anyways, so I remember getting on the phone with Brian, and Brian was like, hey man, he was like, my sister pregnant. I'm like, huh? He like, yeah, my sister pregnant. But I'm like, shit, it ain't mine. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all already know she had another little boyfriend. I think his name was Ren or some shit like that, right? So anyways, he like, yeah, I heard my mom. I was like, how do you know? He was like, man, I heard my mom and my older sister talking about that shit today. And my mom was like, yeah, Gina think that she don't know. She think that I don't know that she's pregnant, but I know she's pregnant. Like, this is the conversation that's going on between my, his mom and his older sister. So he was like, man, I just wanted to let you know, you know what I mean? Like, my sister's pregnant. I was like, shit, it ain't mine. You know what I mean? He was like, I was like, where's she at? Put her on the phone. He was like, nah, she at school right now or something, like, not school, or she went to go do somebody's hair or something. But she ended up, because like I said, it was Christmas break. She ended up coming back, and I called her back, you know what I'm saying? Because I just wanted to talk my shit, you know what I mean? Like, it ain't mine. I'm going to make some jokes about the shit now, you know what I'm saying? So I remember when she got on the phone, you know what I'm saying? She was like, hello. And I'm like, oh, man, I heard you pregnant, you know what I'm saying? She was like, huh? She was like, how do you know that? I was like, bro, everybody in your house knows that you pregnant. She was like, how do they know? I'm like, bro, people ain't stupid, you know what I mean? So I'm like, you pregnant? She like, yeah. So I'm making jokes. I'm like, yeah, you got pregnant by that nigga Ren. What you gonna do? Name your kid Stimpy? You know what I'm saying? Whoop, doo, doo. If you get that joke, you get that joke, right? So I remember her telling me, Chris, is yours. I'm like, it's mine. Get the fuck out of here. She's like, no, I'm serious. It's yours. I was like, no, bro, you told me you had a miscarriage. She's like, I thought I had a miscarriage, but I didn't. I still been pregnant this whole time. So I'm like, nah, I want to see that shit. I want to see it to believe it. She was like, all right, come over to my house tomorrow. I'll show you. I was like, all right. So I remember going over to the house the next day, and she was like, come in the room. So I came in the room, and she lifted up her fucking shirt, and sure enough, she had a whole basketball. Like, she was ready to pop. Now, this is like December, you know what I mean? So I'm like, damn, like, are you sure it's mine? She's like, I'm sure it's yours. It's the same kid. She do the math, you know what I mean? So I'm like, damn. So I'm like, now I really got to go tell my parents, like, this shit is about to happen, which I did. And they were still saying the same shit. Like, yep, guess you got to take care of the kid. But now my mama's like, oh, bring her over and all this other stuff. She could spend the night. I'm like, bro, you just was mad at me a couple months ago, you know, when you caught me fucking with her. But now it's cool since you know that she's pregnant for sure that she can come spend the night. All right, cool. It ain't nothing. So, you know, longer story short, she ended up coming and spending the night. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And I remember the night she went into labor, you know what I mean? Because I'm still smashing on her while she's pregnant, you know what I'm saying? And I remember her spending the night that night, and she was like, it was a Saturday night. She was like, I don't feel good. She was like, I don't feel good at all. I'm like, shit, probably because we fucking and you pregnant, you know what I mean? She was like, yeah, I don't feel good. So anyway, she went to church the next day, Sunday. Her sister came and picked her up, you know what I'm saying? Now, me, it's just a normal day for me, you know what I mean? I didn't ever go to no doctor's appointments with her because I thought that she had all that shit handled. Plus, I'm a little ass kid, and I didn't, I'm a minor. I didn't want her to get in trouble. Like, hey, why you fucking with this minor? You know what I'm saying? But I'm a grown ass man mentally. You know what I'm saying? But I'm still a minor. But back in them days, like, we went to the same high school, so it wasn't looked at like she was doing anything inappropriate. Now, had I been a senior, it might have been looking a little bit different, but everybody was giving me props like, nigga, you pulled her and she a senior and you a freshman and like, you know what I mean? And mind you, I'm hanging out with niggas that's like already her age or older. And I'm the first nigga to have a kid, damn near. You know what I'm saying? I think E might have had a kid right before me, but nigga, I'm right there. But E is like already 21, 22. But mind you, at this time, nigga, I'm smoking, I'm drinking, I'm doing what the fuck I want. I'm hanging out like a grown ass man. I'm already in the streets anyway. So, and I've been like that since I was like 12 or 13. If you ask my mom, she'll say 5. But I always just been hanging out with older people, been in the streets, been doing grown shit. So, like I said, if you knew me back then, it wasn't no surprise. You know what I mean? So, anyways, I remember I'm in the house this Sunday, nigga. I got the music blasting. I'm cooking a whole thing of my mom's biscuits, some sausage. I was making sausage and biscuit sandwiches, you know what I mean, with eggs and shit. And I remember I got a call, and her older sister was like, "Hey, Chris, we got to come pick you up. She just went to the hospital." I'm like, "What you talking about?" She's like, "Yeah, she went into labor." But when I think back, I think me having sex with her put her into labor, and that's why she wasn't feeling good when she was really going into labor, you know what I mean, that whole night. So anyways, go up to the hospital, you know what I'm saying? She ended up having my son that day. And to be honest with you, like, still to this day, that's like one of the best things that ever happened to me. I know it sounds crazy, like having a kid at 15, nigga, how can that be one of the best things that ever happened to you? It changed my life, man, and it made me really man the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I went from just doing whatever to really having something to live for, and being in the mind frame like, I gotta get some money now, nigga. Like, I gotta get some real money, like, you know what I mean? So that's why I say it was like one of the best things that ever happened to me, is because it really put me in a whole different mind frame and really made me, you know, become the man who I would become to be. You know what I'm saying? As far as like trying to get some money. Now, I still did way more immature shit after that in life as a man, but you know, at that time, like, it really made me go into a different mode. You know what I'm saying? And you know, my son was born, and you know, it was time to man up and get some money, and that's how I ended up, you know, getting my first little job and all that other shit. And you know, like my oldest son, I mean, all my kids are great. All my kids are great, from my oldest son to my daughter to my youngest son. They are some great kids, you know. I mean, my oldest son is a grown man now, and my daughter is a grown woman now, and my youngest son, he's still small, but all of my kids are great. You know what I mean? Like, my 2 oldest graduated high school. They doing good shit, you know what I mean, with their lives. My youngest son, he's a great kid, you know, and I'm just very blessed to have such wonderful children. Like, my oldest son is, I wouldn't even like want nobody else to have my name other than the son that I got, because like that's like the first greatest thing that ever happened to me. And my son just makes me prouder and prouder and prouder as a father, because he's listened to all the advice that I've given him. He's never been in any trouble. He's you know, he's always looking and still seeking advice, even as a grown man, from me, which I'm always open to give damn near daily still, you know. So yeah, that was like the first greatest thing that ever happened to me at that time. And I think, you know, all of my children seem to come at a time where God was trying to save me from myself. And as I look back on life and all the shit I've done in life and been through in life, like, each time that one of my kids came, it was like at a time where I really needed to be saved from myself, because I used to be wilding, bro. Like I said, I've been in the streets since I was like 12, 13, doing grown people shit, obviously. And you know, I couldn't ask for a better son. That really was the first turning point of my life, because it just set a stage of everything that was gonna happen, which y'all will hear in some of these stories from then on. And you know, I just couldn't be more proud of my son, and more happy that I chose to make that decision. You know, God put my son in my life for a reason. And yeah, man, I had a kid at 15, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad that my kids made it past 15 and didn't follow in my footsteps, you know what I mean? Because they always took the advice that I give them, because they can learn a lot from me, man. Anything that they're going to go through in life, Pop's already been there, done that maybe 5 or 6 times, you know what I mean? But anyway, man, this is just another story. I'm sorry that I made this shit too long, but yeah, man, shout out to my son's mom. Never had any problems with her ever. I can really even think of she's a great woman. She you know, raised my son as much as she could until it was time for me to take over and raise him. And we just got a great son, man. So shout out to my son. I know he'd be watching my channel. Anyways, man, I hope that he can be the father, just even a greater father than I was to him. You know what I mean? Because one thing about my sons, you know, is like they damn near worship me. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just a reflection of like the father that I've been to my kids. You know what I mean? As much as I've tried to be, you know, me and my daughter's mom, you know, that's a whole nother story I'll get into in some of these other stories. But, you know, me and my daughter still have a great relationship too. But anyways, yeah, man, had a kid at 15, man. I don't advise it for nobody, but it worked out for me, man. And some of these other stories that I tell y'all gonna be like, man, hell no. But every single of these situations that would be fucked up for somebody else, it turned out to be the best situation for me personally, including the best decision I ever made in my life, which I will tell y'all that story. And when I tell people what the greatest or what the, greatest decision or best decision I ever made in my life was, for 99.9% of the people, it, you know, it would be nah. But I'm going to give y'all that story. Matter of fact, I might give y'all that story next, man, because it coincides with this one. Anyways, man, y'all hit that subscribe button below so you can be the first to know and help the channel grow. I appreciate all my subscribers. I appreciate all my viewers. Whether you like my videos or not, I appreciate the views, man. It's your boy King, and I'm out.